Emeka angrily stormed out, but not before making his final statement. "I never wish to set my eyes on you again. Take that thing you call a child and give him to his biological father. Your belongings will be waiting for you outside." With that, Emeka walked out and never looked back. Ada was left in a whirlwind of emotions, the reality of her decisions and their consequences settling in. It was a moment of painful clarity, marking the end of her marriage and the beginning of an uncertain future. Chinedu had heard that Ada gave birth to a baby boy, but he initially didn't show up. Whether he heard the baby was his carbon copy or not, no one knew. 2 days later, Chinedu finally arrived at the hospital. The moment he saw the child, he knew without a doubt the child was his. It all started as a harmless and innocent friendship between Chinedu and Ada in the office. Since both of them were married, they didn't think it would turn into something unpleasant. Ada was having a tough time at her home. Her husband Emeka was cheating on her and mistreating her at the same time. She found a great confidence in her colleague and friend Chinedu. She ran to him to pour out her heart. Chinedu gave her full attention, unlike Emeka. He listened to her and consoled her when she broke down midway. He gently pulled her into his large, strong arms as he cuddled her. Emeka is heartless and insensitive. He doesn't appreciate what he has. Having a woman as beautiful, kind-hearted and brilliant as you is a blessing most men pray for. "Why would he cheat on you?" he said as he patted her back and gently stroked her hair with his other hand. From then onwards, Ada would send him messages on WhatsApp to report everything Emeka did to her, and Chinedu would talk down on Emeka, making Ada feel better. Her trust in Chinedu grew quickly. Emeka was a cheat who thought having money and power gave him the right to be with many women. No matter how much Ada, his wife, argued and pleaded, Emeka refused to change. One of his mistresses, Chioma, was even known to Ada, making her life even more painful. Ada tried her best to be a good wife and mother, hoping Emeka would notice and appreciate her. But Emeka continued his wayward behavior, ignoring her completely. So long as he gave her money for her needs and the family, he didn't see a need for her to complain. During these tough times, Ada grew close to Chinedu, her colleague at work. Chinedu was everything Emeka wasn't: kind, understanding, and caring. He listened to Ada and supported her, making her feel valued. Their friendship turned into a strong emotional bond, and soon they found themselves falling for each other. The company sent them on a business trip to Ghana. The trip to Ghana was a big moment for Ada and Chinedu. Their company sent them to secure an important contract. The trip was supposed to last a week, packed with meetings and presentations. Both felt a mix of excitement and worry as they boarded the flight to Accra. Ada was glad to escape her troubled home for a while, and Chinedu looked forward to break from his daily routine and boredom. Neither expected how strong their feelings would grow during this trip. The first few days were busy with work. They had meetings and site visits with little time for personal interactions. But after work, they began exploring Accra together. One evening, they went to Labadi Beach, where they watched the sunset and talked deeply about their lives and frustrations. Their connection grew stronger. In the calm surroundings of Ghana, far from everyone who knew them, they let their guards down. Chinedu booked a table at a local restaurant, famous for its great food and peaceful setting. Over dinner, their conversations became more personal and intimate. Back at the hotel, Chinedu couldn't resist knocking on Ada's door, pretending he needed to discuss work. Their talk soon turned into a confession of their feelings. Ada shared how unloved she felt in her marriage. Chinedu also opened up about the struggles in his own home. They found comfort in each other and ended up spending the night together. The rest of the trip was a mix of professional success and personal complications. They secured the contract for their company, but their relationship had changed. Every look and every touch during meetings held new meaning because of what happened the previous night. At the hotel, their nights became a private escape from real life. They shared more than physical intimacy, speaking openly about their fears, hopes, and guilt. It was a bittersweet experience, knowing they had to return to reality soon. As the trip ended, they both felt a mix of dread and longing. Returning to Lagos meant going back to their unaware spouses. The flight home was silent, filled with unspoken words and the heavy weight of their actions. The trip to Ghana gave them a glimpse of what life might be like if they weren't in unhappy marriages. But it also made them realize the betrayal they had committed. It was a turning point, setting the stage for the troubles that would follow them back to Lagos. Back home in Lagos, the affair continued. Ada and Chinedu were like lovebirds, always smiling at each other, touching and going out for lunch together. Their closeness caught the eyes of their colleagues, and soon rumors began to spread. But they did not mind. They were deeply in love and believed what they had was special. Almost, or so Ada thought. For a while, they lived in their bubble, enjoying stolen moments and secret rendezvous. They texted late into the night, shared longing glances in the office, and made excuses to spend time alone. Ada felt alive, filled with joy she hadn't felt in years. She believed Chinedu felt the same way. However, as the rumors grew louder, the pressure began to mount. Their colleagues whispered behind their backs, and it became harder to hide their relationship. Ada noticed Chinedu was becoming more cautious, withdrawing slightly. He started to suggest that they cool things down at work to avoid suspicion. Ada was confused and hurt by his sudden change. She believed their love could overcome any obstacle. She tried to talk to Chinedu about it, but he assured her that everything was fine, that they just needed to be more careful. But the more careful they tried to be, the more strained their relationship became. Chinedu's reservations made Ada question whether he was as committed as she was. She started to worry that what she thought was divine might not be the same for Chinedu. Ada found out she was pregnant. At first, she didn't know whether to be happy, scared, or worried. The truth was complicated because she wasn't sure the baby was Emeka's, her husband, or Chinedu's. However, nobody questions a pregnant married woman, so for a while she didn't have to worry about gossip. People at work stopped whispering about her close relationship with Chinedu. Instead, they congratulated her on the upcoming baby. She felt some relief because the focus shifted to something positive. But deep down, Ada knew she had to figure out the truth and make some tough decisions. She continued her daily routine, trying to act normal. Emeka seemed pleased about the pregnancy, thinking the baby was his. He even started to treat her a little better, which made things even more confusing for Ada. Chinedu, on the other hand, was supportive but distant. He was glad for Ada, but worried about the complications the baby would bring to their situation. Ada felt trapped and torn. She loved Chinedu, but the secret of who the baby's father was weighed heavily on her. She wanted to talk to both men, but didn't know where to start and how things would end. She feared that revealing the truth could destroy everything. Despite her pregnancy, Ada continued her clandestine affair with Chinedu. They still met at hotels because she couldn't do without seeing him, touching him, and loving him. Their connection remained strong, even as the baby grew within her. Then, the day of delivery came. To everyone's shock, the baby, your guess is as good as mine, looked exactly like Chinedu. The baby had Chinedu's fair skin, hazel eyes, and lanky frame. Everyone who knew Ada and Chinedu couldn't deny the obvious truth. The baby was his. It was no small talk in town. The whispers and gossip spread quickly. The secret Ada and Chinedu had been hiding all this time was finally exposed. As the saying goes, breeze don't blow, foul nyash don't expose. The truth was out for everyone to see. Ada and Chinedu had to face the harsh reality of their actions. No longer able to hide behind lies and secrecy, they now had to deal with the fallout from their affair, with everyone watching and judging their every move. Emeka was over the moon with joy because finally he had a son. He stopped at the supermarket buying fruits, flowers, gifts for his beloved wife Ada. He even had a surprise car gift for her, the latest 2024 Ford. He couldn't wait to see his new son. When he arrived at the hospital, he rushed to Ada's bedside, kissed her, and started making promises to be a better man for his wife and child. They were attending to the baby then, but soon brought the child to Ada. As soon as Emeka saw the baby, his heart sank. The baby was fair-skinned with hazel eyes and looked lanky, totally different from the chubby, dark-skinned with dark-eyed children known in Emeka's family. His family had dark skin and certain features that were evident in all children of his siblings. "What is this?" he demanded angrily. "This is not my son." He heard rumors about his wife hanging out with another man, but he always dismissed them. His wife was too perfect to cheat. She was even the choir leader at their church. How could she cheat? The sudden realization hit him hard. The baby was undeniably proof that the rumors were true. Emeka felt a mix of betrayal, anger, and heartbreak, unable to understand how this could happen. Ada, defiant in her pride, accused her husband of being the first to cheat. "You pushed me into it, and I don't regret it," she shouted. "You cheat. Now you see that two can play the game. I was loyal to you and endured all the emotional and physical abuse you put me through. But you never appreciated me, another man did." She poured a tirade of insults on Emeka, her anger boiling over. Emeka, enraged and humiliated, made attempts to hit her, but the nurses, hearing the commotion, rushed in and held him back. Emeka angrily stormed out, but not before making his final statement. "I never wish to set my eyes on you again. Take that thing you call a child and give him to his biological father. Your belongings will be waiting for you outside." With that, Emeka walked out and never looked back. Ada was left in a whirlwind of emotions, the reality of her decisions and their consequences settling in. It was a moment of painful clarity, marking the end of her marriage and the beginning of an uncertain future. Chinedu had heard that Ada gave birth to a baby boy, but he initially didn't show up. Whether he had the baby was his carbon copy or not, no one knew. 2 days later, Chinedu finally arrived at the hospital. The moment he saw the child, he knew without a doubt that it was his. After Emeka stormed out, Ada had consoled herself with the thought that she still had Chinedu. She believed their love was no longer a secret and would flourish. Together, they would finally start their own home. They had discussed this dream many times while cuddling in each other's arms. Ada was so sure that a new chapter had opened for her and her lover. She envisioned a future of happiness and unity with Chinedu, believing that everything would fall into place. Unbeknown to her, Chinedu had different thoughts. He was not ready to disrupt his existing home life to marry her. When he visited the hospital, Ada's heart momentarily soared with hope, thinking that his arrival marked the beginning of their new life together. But Chinedu looked sober and distant. After a long silence, he finally spoke. Ada, I don't know how to say this, but I can't leave my family. My kids, my wife, they are my responsibility. What we had, it was beautiful, but it can't continue. I can't be the man you're expecting me to be. Chinedu continued, his voice growing colder. Besides, I don't trust you, Ada. If you can cheat on your husband with me, then you will definitely cheat on me with another. I can't be with a cheat. My wife, despite how I treated her, still stood by me and did everything to prove her love. I can't throw that away for this. Ada was stunned, her heart pounding in her chest. The shock of Chinedu's words hit her like a tidal wave. She could only stare at him, her mind racing. She had made a huge mistake by destroying her home. She had thought Chinedu was her future, but now she realized he was nothing more than a fleeting fantasy built on deception. Her eyes filled with tears, but no words came out. Chinedu's betrayal felt like a cruel twist of fate, mirroring the very infidelity she had committed. The harsh reality of her actions dawned on her, and she felt a profound sense of loss and regret. As Chinedu turned to leave, Ada finally found her voice, though it was shaky and laden with sorrow. Chinedu, please, don't leave me like this. He paused for a moment, but his decision was clear. I'm sorry, Ada, I can't. With that, he walked away, leaving her to grapple with the consequences of her choices alone. Ada sighed silently, holding her baby, feeling the weight of her decisions crushing down on her. The dream she had held onto shattered. She now had to find a way to rebuild her life from the pieces left behind. She had learned a bitter truth. It was indeed a man's world. The reality of her situation weighed heavily on her as she cradled her newborn son. She felt the sting of betrayal, not just from Chinedu, but from a society that seemed to judge her more harshly than it did men for the same actions. Ada realized that men like Emeka and Chinedu could cheat and lie, yet have the world find a way to forgive them or look the other way. But for a woman, the consequences were immediate and severe. She was left alone to face the scorn and judgment of the society, to raise a child without the support she had counted on, and to rebuild her life from the ground up. In the hospital room, she made a silent vow to herself and her child. She would rise above the circumstances, find her strength, and create a future for them both despite the difficult road ahead. The lessons she had learned were harsh, but they also ignited a fire within her to forge her own path. Ada knew that while it might be a man's world, she refused to let that dictate her worth or her destiny. She would prove to herself and her son that they could overcome this, rebuild, and thrive. Ada had spent the past 3 years rebuilding her life with her son. She had found a good paying job and through hard work and determination had managed to create a stable and loving environment for her child. She had come to terms with her mistakes and had resolved never to trust any man again, focusing solely on her career and her son's well-being. On the other hand, Emeka had also spent these years reflecting on his actions. The initial anger and sense of betrayal had long since faded, replaced by regret and a growing understanding of his own role in the collapse of their marriage. He knew he had been too harsh on Ada and remembered the emotional and physical abuse he had subjected her to. The more he thought about it, the more he realized he had pushed her into that affair. He finally admitted to himself that what she had done was a symptom of a much deeper issue, his own mistreatment and neglect. Emeka knew that no woman had ever managed his excesses as well as Ada had. She had endured so much and tried so hard to maintain their home despite his behavior. Now, he was filled with the determination to right his wrongs. Emeka decided it was time to seek Ada's forgiveness and try to win her back. He understood it wouldn't be easy, and there was a good chance she might not even want to see him, let alone reconcile. But he was willing to make the effort, driven by the hope that they could start all over. More than anything, he was willing to embrace her son as his own, understanding that love and family go beyond mere blood ties. One day, Emeka mustered up the courage to visit Ada. He found her sitting in a park with her son, enjoying the warm afternoon sun. His heart ached as he saw how happy and healthy their child looked, a stark reminder of the life he had missed out on. He approached them slowly, his heart pounding in his chest. Ada noticed him first, her eyes widened in surprise. She stood up, her protective instincts kicking in. Emeka raised his hands in a gesture of peace, trying to convey that he meant no harm. Ada, he began, his voice trembling. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need to tell you how sorry I am. I was wrong. I was abusive and cruel. You didn't deserve any of that. I pushed you away and I drove you to seek comfort elsewhere. I've spent these years reflecting on my actions, and I know I failed you as a husband. Ada listened, her expression unreadable. Emeka took a deep breath and continued. I miss you. I miss us. I want to make things right. I know it won't be easy, and I know I have to earn your trust again if you will even give me that chance. And I understand that your son might not be mine biologically, but he is still a part of you, and that makes him a part of me too. There was a long pause. Ada looked at their son, who was watching them curiously. She then turned her gaze back to Emeka, her eyes filled with a mix of emotions. I don't know, Emeka, she finally said. It has taken me a long time to get to a place where I feel strong and independent. I'm not sure I can ever trust you again. I understand, Emeka replied, his voice soft. All I'm asking for is a chance to show you that I can be different for our son's sake, even if nothing else. Ada sighed. She remembered the good times they had shared before everything went wrong, and the love she once had for him. But she also remembered the pain and betrayal. "All right," she said slowly. "I'm willing to see if you've truly changed. But you need to understand that it will take time, and it won't be easy. I need to protect myself and our son." Emeka nodded, relief washing over him. "Thank you, Ada. I promise I won't let you down." As they walked away from the park together, Emeka knew this was just the beginning of a long journey towards redemption and reconciliation. For Ada, it was a cautious step towards healing the past, with the hope that maybe, just maybe, they could find a way to rebuild their lives. This time on a foundation of trust, mutual respect, and unconditional love for their family. Hello besties, thanks for watching. Please like and share. Kindly subscribe to my little channel to help me grow. Also share ideas on better ways to solve family-related issues. Thank you so much and see you in the next video. Bye.